In this lesson, you're going to learn important business English expressions that will help you sound fluent, help you build your vocabulary, and help you sound more professional in the workplace. And make sure you watch right until the end because I'm going to quiz you to make sure you really know these expressions. Welcome back to J4Ace English. I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Our first expression is to be well-versed in. This is when you fully understand a specific topic or you deeply understand a specific topic. And when you're well-versed in something, it also means you're an expert. An expert fully understands a topic. So it's another way of saying you're an expert. For example, she's well-versed in international law, and she has written extensively on that topic. Notice in this example, it's in plus something, well-versed in something. And in this case, it's international law. That's the topic. That's her area of expertise. She's an expert in international law. She's well-versed in international law. You can also use in plus a gerund verb, so a verb in ing. So you just need to turn it into an action. For example, she's well-versed in writing about international law. So now we're focusing on the action of writing, well-versed in writing about international law. Now let's talk about the expression to play devil's advocate. This is when you present an opposing viewpoint or argument for the sake of discussion or debate. So let's say the topic we're discussing at a business meeting is giving salary raises, so giving raises to the employees. And I personally don't think it's a good idea to give raises. I don't think the company can afford it. But I could raise the opposing viewpoint simply for the purpose of discussing it, understanding it, or debating it. So I could say, to play devil's advocate, what if we gave everyone a 10% raise? And when I say to play devil's advocate, you understand that that isn't my opinion. I'm only raising it for the purpose of debating it or discussing it. So it's a very useful expression to have in your vocabulary. Now let's talk about a fun expression to go the extra mile. This is when you do more than what's expected. So it's a very positive thing. Personally, I always try to go the extra mile for my students, for you. I always try to do more than what's expected. So it's expected to produce one video a week. I produce more than one video a week. I give free lesson PDFs. I include quizzes, and I spend a lot of time going the extra mile to make sure you have the best experience possible. So if you're happy about that, why don't you put in the comments, thanks for going the extra mile. Thanks for going the extra mile. Put that in the comments, and then I'll keep going the extra mile just for you. Now let's talk about the expression to be in one's element. This is when you're in an environment or a situation where you feel both comfortable and also capable. For example, when I'm teaching right now, I'm in my element. I feel very comfortable doing this, and I also feel capable, which means I feel like I'm doing a good job. I have the skills, I have the experience necessary to do what I'm doing right now. I'm in my element. But on the other hand, I'm not in my element when I'm analyzing statistics, for example. I don't feel very comfortable and I don't feel capable at all. So I'm not in my element when I'm analyzing statistics, but I'm definitely in my element when I'm creating these lessons for you and right now when I'm teaching. To give you another example, let's take a musician, Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran is in his element when he's performing on stage. And I wanted you to see this example to notice that it's one's element. My element, his element. So make sure you change that grammatically. Our next expression is to have a knack for. When you have a knack for something, it means you possess a natural talent or ability with that something. So thinking about our last examples, when I'm in my element, it's because I have a knack for teaching English. For me, it comes very naturally. It's not something I have to try really hard to do. I find it very easy to plan lessons, to think of different ideas, to think of interesting ways to present the information to you, to record myself and create these videos. I have a knack for teaching English. And I don't feel in my element. I'm not in my element when I'm analyzing statistics because I don't have a knack for math. Of course, I can do math, but it doesn't come naturally to me. It doesn't come easily to me. I have to try harder to do math because I don't have a knack for it. And again, thinking about Ed Sheeran, well, he's so popular because he has a knack for writing beautiful love songs. I'm sure it comes very easily for him. Thinking about how many love songs he has written, it must come easily. He must have a knack for it. Now let's talk about the expression to move the needle. This is used when you have a significant positive impact. So when you move the needle, you go from here to here. You don't just go from here to here, which would be a positive impact in terms of growth, but it's a small one. We want a significant positive impact to move the needle. For example, our new marketing strategy moved the needle on our sales. So this means the marketing strategy had an impact on the sales and it had a significant positive impact. So again, it helped the sales go from here to here. It moved the needle on our sales. Let's think about you and your English abilities. Maybe when you first started watching my lessons, your English vocabulary was here. But now, after watching my lessons for a few months or even longer, your English vocabulary is here. So you could say, Jennifer, your videos have really moved the needle on my English vocabulary. I hope you feel that way because remember, I go the extra mile to really make sure that you move the needle on your English skills. So if you agree with that, put move the needle, put move the needle in the comments. This next one is an interesting one. To leave no stone unturned. This expression is used in two different ways. First, it's when you thoroughly search for something or look for something, and that's something physical. So if you leave no stone unturned, it's another way of saying you looked absolutely everywhere for something. For example, we couldn't find any evidence of fraud, and we left no stone unturned. So in this case, what they're looking for is fraud or evidence of fraud, and they looked absolutely everywhere. They left no stone unturned. In that sense, you're looking for something physical, something that actually exists and you can find it and hold it in your hand. But we also use this expression to simply mean that you've explored all possibilities. So possibilities aren't necessarily physical. You can't necessarily hold it in your hand. For example, let's think of a solution and let's leave no stone unturned. So again, it means you're going to think of every possibility for the solution. You're going to leave no stone unturned. So you can use this expression in both a literal sense and more of a figurative sense as well. Let's talk about the expression to put the cart before the horse. Have you ever heard this? This is when you do things in the wrong order or you prioritize things incorrectly. For example, you can't advertise your business before you have a product to sell. Don't put the cart before the horse. So in this case, you're using it as advice to someone. Don't put the cart before the horse. Another sentence structure, you could say, he put the cart before the horse by selling his house before he was offered a new job. So maybe he applied for a position in another city. So if he gets the job, he would have to sell his house. But he hasn't been offered the job and he already sold his house. So he put the cart before the horse. Our next expression is to be a work in progress. So notice here, I'll work, that's the noun form. I'll work in progress. This is when something is still being developed, improved, or refined and is not yet complete. Of course, you could say, my English skills are a work in progress, which means you're still improving your English skills. But don't worry, because so am I. Learning a language is a lifelong process. We also frequently use this with specific projects. Let's say I'm renovating my kitchen and someone asks me, oh, how's the kitchen reno going? And I can say, good, but it's a work in progress. Just to let them know it's not yet complete. Our last expression is a great one. To be a force to be reckoned with. This describes a person or an entity that demands respect or attention because of its influence or abilities. For example, Pablo's only been with the company for 6 months, but he's a force to be reckoned with. This means that although Pablo is a new employee, he's been receiving a lot of attention, a lot of respect, and it's because of what he's doing, because of his abilities or his influence. He's a force to be reckoned with. Now, we also use this expression with things or entities, organizations. So the first thing I thought of is AI, artificial intelligence. I think everyone can agree that AI is a force to be reckoned with. And this means that AI, it commands a lot of attention because of its abilities and the impact that it's had on our lives. AI is a force to be reckoned with. To make sure you feel confident using these new expressions in your speech, let's do a quiz. Here are the questions. Hit pause, take as much time as you need, and when you're ready, hit play to see the answers. Here are the answers. Hit pause, take as much time as you need, and when you're ready to move on, hit play. Make sure you share your score in the comments below. And because I always go the extra mile, I've also included the free lesson PDF so you can look for the link in the description. And if you feel like these lessons help you move the needle on your English skills, then I want you to put in the comments, move the needle. Move the needle so I know you're enjoying these lessons and I'll keep making them. Move the needle, put that in the comments. And another way I've gone the extra mile is by providing you with this free speaking guide. So you can get this on my website, and I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And if you want to keep moving the needle on your English skills, I recommend you watch this lesson right now.